Hey guys, we're back with another episode of Tacoimposters. Let me fix this mic here. I don't know if you can hear that. Probably can hear that. Yeah. So, what's new? I got the animation done. I'll show you the animation right now. It's pretty actually decent for the first real animation I've ever done. I think it's pretty decent. Look, it's this. There's no sound. There's no music. There's nothing. It's just here it is. This is it. This is all. I know I don't like that shadow right there, but it's because the way the light comes at me, I didn't turn on the ceiling light. Anyway, I think it's fine. Look, so it's this right here. Look, I'll show you. If I can get the damn thing running, I can get it. This right here. Right there, starts there and it goes there. So yeah, I mean, personally, I like it. I don't know if it's the best thing, honestly, but it is what it is. There you go. So that's the thing. And I'm thinking of either getting a computer or a camera. Because they're around the same price, both of them. Yeah. And I'm thinking of getting a Canon T3i. Rebel T3i. Which, I mean, it's a good camera, from what I hear. From people say that a lot. So, I mean, hey, I'm not saying it's bad. Or, sorry, greatest camera, but it's good. I need a new SD card for my 360 camera. My Samsung Gear 360. Which I like. I just think it's a gimmicky whatever. It's not great a camera. No. It's good. It's good. Like, it's a cool gimmick. Again, 360 is faff. I've already said that before. 360 is a faff, like, gimmick that, like, really should not exist. But it exists for those, like, random videos that people make, and it's like, ugh, no. The Fusion 360, GoPro's Fusion 360 camera is only good because you can frame your shot whenever you want, however you want, afterwards in post. So I can say I have a 360 video, and I can take this part, and the part behind me, and the part over here, and done. I've taken 3 different places. Like, anyway, it's good. It's good. I was looking at one of those. It's expensive. I bought this used on eBay for used on eBay for $77. Including shipping. So it's good. It's good. Yeah. So that's what I did. I'm looking at getting one of those because my birthday on the 3rd of June. So today, I keep forgetting to say the date. The date is June 7th, 2020. June 7th, 2020. Yeah. So, yeah, there's that. That's pretty much what I've done. I've done that animation for like 3 weeks just because I just didn't care. No, I've done it for longer than that, like a month and 6 weeks. But I've only really worked on it for like 2 days. Like full 2 days because I really didn't care for it. Or 3 days. I don't know. They take a long time to do animations. Yeah. They do. They take a long time to do. So. They do. But yeah. So there's that. What else is there? There's some good stuff. What else? There's like... I want more animations. So I need a computer. Or I'll just do it by paper. Which I don't want to have to do because I won't be able to see the last piece of thing I did. But I'll figure something out, I'm sure. But yeah. Because I would need a light box, and then the see-through paper, and then you go over it with this and that. Oh, it's bad. It's expensive, too. Because you have to ink that, and then you have to... It's a lot of work. Now, it's not the worst, but it's a lot of work. Like, it's just a lot of work. It's fine. It's just a lot of work. So, yeah, like you watch Disney movies, or any animated movie at all, and it's a lot of work when what they do. So, do any of those, like, kind of, videos, like, or watching any of those movies, it's a lot of, like, so yeah, it's a lot of work, I'm sorry. Like, it takes years to make that. It took me, like a full 24-hour period to make that animation. It was a lot of work. I made, in Blender, I made something, okay, it was like 3 seconds, and it took me an hour. 3 or 4 or 5 seconds, and it took me an hour. So, it's a lot of work. It's just a lot of work. I don't know. I want to be an animator, or a programmer, or an audio engineer. I'm probably going to go to university to be an audio engineer. Just because, like, or broadcast engineer, depending on what the difference is and all that. I'll look into it, but I think it's audio engineer because like you can then go and be anybody's like. You can do it for a band, you can do it for radio, you can do it for television, you can do it for movies, you can do it for videos, you can do it for everything. It's crazy. It's good. You can produce music, you can... Oh, it's a lot. It's good stuff. So, at least that's my opinion on what I want to do. Like, my opinion is, I like that, and I think it's good, and I think I want to do that with my life. Because it sounds interesting. But yeah. And again, but you have to, you have to, like... What's the word I'm looking for? You have to realize, you have to know... I know nothing about music, so audio engineering would help me a lot to learn, like, oh, so here's this idea thing. You know how to produce music. Nice. So yeah, that's what I want to do with my life, I think. Animator. I want a profile that I can show someone and they would go, impressive. Very impressive. That was Star Wars. Sounds like a Yoda quote. Impressive. Very impressive. Yoda I am. Fight I will. There's a Flash game from years ago. Like, years ago. On Anticon Arcade. It was like a Yoda dress-up thing. And it was like lots of Yoda quotes. You just would spew out quotes. You would dress up Yoda, but you spew out quotes. There were a lot of dress-up games. Like, not even just girly dress-up games like Barbie or like Bratz or something. No, or like just a little girl dressed up, like female dress-up. I'm dressing up a hunky macho man guy. It looks like a six-pack. No, it was a lot of... Also, there was a Simpsons dress-up game. There was a Link dress-up game from Zelda. There was a Mario dress-up game. There was a Yoda dress-up game. I think it was a Darth Vader dress-up game, which I didn't understand because it was like, you're dressing up Darth Vader, but he's in a suit. I don't know. Anyway. There were a lot. The other thing was, there were a lot of games from, like, StarWars.com and places like that where, like, that don't really exist anymore, but I'm trying to find them because I'm like, well, where could they be? What could they be? Right? Yeah. So. Okay. So yeah. What was I just talking about? Yeah, that's what I want to do. Animation. Yeah. So yeah. That's about it. I know these are getting shorter and shorter and shorter just because I have nothing to talk about. Tell me in the emails, comments below, Discord, Patreon. Tell me something somewhere. So what I can do. Because I'm getting so damn bored of saying the same damn crap. And I'm also going in circles. If you don't notice, I say the same shit over and over and over and over and over again. I just pulled this out, right? Onto my shelf, right? This is the Pikachu that squeaks. Look. Good lord, there's lots of people screaming outside. I don't know if you can hear that. But yeah. So I pulled this out and I went, first of all, I went, why do I have this? Second of all, I went, I love this thing. Third of all, I went, I had two of these. Where's the other one? I had something else that looked more like the later Pikachus. And then I went, Pokemon. Not only was it a giant phenomenon in the world, I loved it. Probably because my brother played it, used it, watched it, traded the cards. So I think there was a big thing with that where, like, I liked anything my brother liked. He could have liked pooping on the floor and I would have been like, yeah, great, I love it. I absolutely love it. Like, honestly, he would. Oh. But I personally didn't think it was the best thing out of all the things that I liked as a kid. Like, now I look back at it and I go, it wasn't the best, was it? And it's like, no. But was it bad? No. It was innocent. Innocent fun, I guess. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. It was very, I don't know. I mean, everything. It was like everything that ever came out. There's always those things where it's like, holy crap. There's like, anime TV show. Movies. There's the cards. There's the toys. There's the video games. There's books. There's t-shirts. There's bedding. There's pajamas. There's underwear. There's breakfast cereal. There's everything. Pokemon was the biggest phenomenon. 1999. The peak of Pokemon. It went like this. And Pokemon's never had a, like, it's always been like an up and down Pokemon. Pokemon's like, and of the three, like, franchises, it's the only franchise that had a TV show. Of the three big, well, no, that's a lie because Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a TV show. But of the three, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic Magic never had a TV show. Magic never had a really good game. Magic never had toys. Magic never had T-shirts, books. Probably had books. It never had stuff like that. I don't know. It's just something where it's like, oh, I don't know why animals. Okay, mouse, tiny yellow mouse is like so popular. It was insane. My favorite Pokemon is Pokemon Emerald, just because I played it so much and I got it for Easter one year. Right? It was great. I loved it. But the one I remember playing the most is Diamond. My brother had Pearl, and my brother's best friend had Platinum. So we had all three. And Platinum's the one you play. You don't play Diamond or Pearl. You play Platinum if you're gonna play one of them. And then I remember playing Gold and Silver like slightly less. Like it was like we played Platinum like this much, Diamond and Pearl this much. We played Gold and Silver this much, and then I played Black and White this much, and then I played like I have what do I have here? I have is it around here? I do. So I have Diamond and Pearl, and I have Sun, and I have X. I personally, of all three of those, or there's also Gold and Silver. So I had Diamond, Gold, X, and Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon's crap. Sun and Moon is terrible. Garbage. It's so bad. It's horrible. And the only reason it's horrible is because they never, two things. You do these weird trial things, which are supposed to be replacing, like, gyms, and they went with Sun and Moon, and I think they scrapped that and went to gyms in the next game, like in Sword and Shield. I'm not sure. I know, okay, so you have no gyms, that's one thing. But the other thing is, the stupid, trial, is not the worst. It's every, like, so often they'll still give you a stupid, like, tutorial where it's like, okay, now you could turn them off. Not that if you could turn them off, it would be a fine game. You can't. You can't turn them off. You have to keep seeing them. So you know how, like, the old man will teach you, or like the kid will be like, hey old man, or hey kid, here's how you do this, and he'll tell you how to either use a potion, catch a Pokemon, use the Pokemon Center, whatever. This is the gym, whatever. These are the running shoes. Anyway. They never stopped that. They never stopped that in that game. You could be playing for 4 hours in a session, and be like, okay, I played for 4 hours, don't tell me how to use a potion again, or use a Pokeball. Or you could have been like, I've played my whole life, played 30 years of my life. Why are you telling me how to use a Pokeball? It's like you think I've never played it before. Of course I've played it before. Anyway, I think it's stupid, but I'm sure some people are like, well, yeah, it's for the kids, you dumb fuck. I'm like, yeah, well, no, duh, but if I could turn it off, then yeah, then it'd be fine. But no, I can't. I cannot turn it off. It's stupid, and you don't let me do anything. It's just dumb, in my opinion. But hey, what are you gonna do? I personally think it's stupid, but I also understand why they made it that way. But I mean, it's the easiest Pokemon game, and it's terrible for that reason and that reason alone. Yeah. Now, don't be wrong. It's not the worst Pokemon game. It's still Diamond and Pearl. So. Followed up closely by Diamond and Pearl. Oh, sorry, Diamond and Pearl. Followed closely up. Number 2 worst is, in my opinion, this is my honest opinion, Black and White / Black and White 2. I hated Black and White. Now, it's not the worst. Diamond and Pearl's the worst, but Black and White, at least, is so bad. They had so many things that could have gone well that they never utilized. Like, oh, they could have used that weird, like, display thing that was online. That, like, was online and, like, I don't know. They didn't use anything well. It was just bad. They didn't put it on 3DS also, which drove a lot of people nuts. They were like, why would you not put it on 3DS? Why are we still on a 2DS? Why are we on the regular DS? Anyway, that's just my opinion on Pokemon. I think that'll be it for now, guys. Again, you want to ask questions, link in description.